Hello Wildlanders, SK here. Today, we are learning to extract souls into specialized gems to empower equipment, as well as how to create powerful staves. Additionally, there is a new area of study for enchanting that we are going to talk through. Now, if you do enjoy these tips videos, feel free to leave a like. We are having an introduction to enchanting for players that are newer or of moderate experience with the Wildlander mod pack. The first thing to discuss with enchanting is that it is not nearly as overpowered as in vanilla Skyrim. For reference, not only are there ancient artifacts out in the world that are drastically more powerful than any player or NPC can enchant, but also the player can no longer nullify all magicka costs for spells with just enchanting. This is not to say that enchanting isn't worthwhile, but simply that it is significantly more balanced, whereas in vanilla Skyrim, it felt like choosing to use enchanting was always the best option. For ease, I recommend choosing enchanting as one of your starting perks. This gives you portable enchanting supplies so that you can enchant wherever you go. If you do select enchanting as a starting skill, you will also notice you have bone meal in your inventory. This is because you will need to use one bone meal each time to place down your portable enchanting supplies, so keep this in mind. In the event that you do not have a portable enchanting kit because you learn the skill later on, you will need these items to create the supplies. Most of these items are difficult to get or expensive. In addition to these items, you will also need an alchemist toolkit to craft the supplies. Shifting focus and taking a look at the enchanting perk tree, there is the right-hand side that focuses more on staves, as well as powerful, unique enchantments that do scale well into the later game. At level 50, you can take the arcane experimentation perk, which gives you the ability to craft glass staves, as well as to infuse 5 daggers with unique enchantments using 3 grand soul gems. To harness these unique enchantments, you would simply disenchant the daggers, which teaches you the enchantments. Similarly, at level 75, you can take the Artificer's Insight perk, which allows you to craft ebony staves at a forge, and allows you to use the new Artificer's Insight ability on 5 additional daggers with 3 filled grand soul gems. Once again, this allows you to enchant them with these unique enchantments that you would then disenchant. According to the wiki, having a weapon that combines the Spellbreaking and Flame Burst enchantments are super powerful against Dragon Priests, an endgame enemy. Additionally, staffs can be created at a forge using battle staffs, and once you reach level 100 enchanting, you will be able to craft Daedric staffs. To do this, you will need to have the proper items, and you will also need to go to a forge between 11 and midnight, as this is the only time frame available to create a Daedric staff. This side of the tree also simplifies getting soul gems by allowing you to create them at a forge. You can also create different staves by using battle staves at a forge with the relevant strengths and number of soul gems. There is a caveat here, however, because you cannot craft staves using handcrafted soul gems that you just fill with soul trap. The soul gems would need to be pre-filled, meaning that you would either purchase them or you would find them when adventuring. The left-hand side of the tree focuses specifically on the strengths of enchantments, increasing the overall potency of different enchantment types. The turning point in the enchantment's usefulness is seen more after you get to level 100 enchanting. However, to get the final perk, Enchantment Mastery, you will need to have all other perks as a requisite before obtaining the final one. With that being said, the final perk is the most important, and here's why. Not only can Daedric staves be created, which are incredibly powerful, but you are now given the ability to have 2 enchantments present on a piece of gear, each at 75% strength. Now, if you're running a pure mage playthrough, this is not quite as beneficial, because there are much more useful pieces of gear that can be found in the world. However, it will be niche as a pure mage, specifically for enchanting boots and gloves, because there aren't a lot of options to be found in the world that benefits mages. Now, the true benefit of enchanting is shown more for hybrid characters such as a paladin. This is because once you reach the pinnacle of enchanting ability, you can now build enchantment sets specific to the type of character you are playing that do not exist anywhere else in the world. For instance, you can have a potent restoration enchantment paired with a fortify stamina enchantment as a paladin. You could also choose 2 of the same enchantment, which makes specific playstyles all the more successful. While level 100 enchanting certainly sounds exciting, all I can think to myself is, great, I get to aimlessly enchant gear for a while until I get there. You certainly can do this, which will help make quite a bit of gold, but there is an addition to this overall process. I'm super happy to say that filled soul gem fragments are no longer useless, something which bothered me quite a bit in vanilla Skyrim. Filled soul gem fragments can now be studied with 3 options. The first option is simply to analyze the item, which informs us how many archetypes the item holds within it, as well as if they're primary or secondary. I recommend always doing this first with an item so that you know how long to study it. This option also gives a brief description of effects you notice while analyzing it, such as, it burns to the touch. Once you have done this, you can study the item, which will progress your enchanting ability, as well as you will learn more about the archetype that is sealed within this item. You will need tongs to study the item, and while I have been told that you can find them from shopkeepers, I was unable to find any. In the event that you have this experience as well, the solution I found was to request a blacksmith to create them. Now, you will also want to either find or have a blacksmith create a blacksmith's hammer, which will be used in the third and final option. Backtracking to studying the soul gem fragments, if there are only secondary archetypes, you would select secondary. If there are only primary archetypes, then you would select primary. I will warn you that there's a chance that the item will break and will no longer be able to be used for study. If you do study the item and there is still another archetype, you can continue studying to try and learn about the second archetype, or to become more proficient with whichever archetype you already learned about. Once you have finished studying all of the item's archetypes, you can choose to break the item using the blacksmith's hammer, which will allow you to observe how the properties react, learning a great deal more about the soul gem fragment. In a similar vein, there are imbued body parts such as imbued skeevers or imbued skulls, and there are also enchanted items such as an enchanted iron mace that the player can study as well with the same rules and steps that were used for soul gem fragments. Certain items, such as the pieces that create Mehrunes' razor, can also be studied and are unbreakable, allowing you to progress enchanting quite a bit, learning from all of the different pieces. The last item that we are going to touch on would be ancient texts. You will also find these scattered across the world of Wildlander and can analyze the text, getting a description of what you can see when peering into the book. Furthermore, you can attempt to translate the text, which, in my personal experience, is fairly difficult, but with enough experience with enchanting, as well as some luck, you can successfully translate a portion of the text, learning a great deal about different archetypes such as destruction. While there is certainly more that can be covered with enchanting, this should be everything you need to get your feet properly wet. I do hope you found this video useful. If you did, let me know in the comments and consider subscribing. Stay safe, Wildlanders.